I would go with those two guys. So Odell's back in the news. And it has been a very long time since Odell has annoyed me. Like since 2019. 2019, I was bitter at Odell. I was bitter at Odell.
Let's
he said a lot of
why
things.
is he back in the news? We have to preface because some people don't. Number one, people are blocked by people, so they don't know what's going on, and then also some people aren't on social media, so they don't know what happened today. What happened?
So basically, Odell went on this podcast and talking about the Giants. He said, like, my issues there were that like they didn't build around Eli, which plays at everybody's heartstrings, which I believe that was totally calculated to get people on his fan base. And then he's like, coaches were sabotaging me. They got a new coach and sabotaging, inferring Pat Shurmur. He was talking about Pat Shurmur. Okay, like Ben McAdoo and Odell's second year on the team was not, or whatever third year was not going around telling all these older vets to stay away from Odell. He was talking about Pat Shurmur. And like sabotaging me, and I felt like that was backstabbing. But what happened once is he played with everybody's heartstrings. He's like, you know what, he's right. This team didn't build around Eli, and it got everybody going. It's like, he's right. And it reminded me why I was so happy with the Odell trade. It really did. And I want to preface this a little bit because Odell is a lot of people. If Odell was, if you were in middle school and Odell joined the team or high school, Odell was probably your favorite player of your childhood. Like, he's an amazing player. Like, if you went and watched Mike Too Nice's video on Odell a couple weeks ago on his career, it just reminded me of like how good Odell was. He was amazing. He was on record pace. And now it's like he's probably not even going to be in the Hall of Fame. So I get that if he was your favorite player. Like Jason Kidd is a horrible basketball coach. I'd take him back. He was my favorite player. He's my basketball childhood. I will give Jason Kidd chance after chance after chance. I don't care if he's a bad coach. Now, that being said, Jason Kidd led us to the finals. He didn't, choke in the first round of the playoffs. Like I was rooting for him this year. Like I had no ill will for Odell this year. We really haven't talked about him at all. I had no ill will. Where last year I was rooting actively against the Browns. This year I don't care at all. Playing the Browns this year was more of like, hey, I'm going to look forward to this, not like we need to destroy Odell. But it reminded me of who, and this I'm going to go on a rant. This reminded me of who Odell is. This is who Odell is. He is a me guy. The Browns are 8-3 right now, 9-3, and he's doing this. He is distracting from his team again. His Browns teammates will be asked questions about Odell. Mm-hmm. And honestly, he was the same guy last year. They were asking in-game for teams to trade for him. They were asking in-game for teams to trade him. Odell hasn't changed. Odell is the same Odell. I'm all for giving guys second chances. But you have to admit where you're wrong. And Odell it's constantly everyone's fault but mine.
But Bobby, let me ask you a question though. And I'm going to ask you a question that's going to make you mad. And I'm not serious when I ask this question, but I know it's going to set you off. But he was right though.
One, no, he wasn't. Pat Shurmur didn't come in to sabotage Odell. Do you think he joined the team? They gave him a contract extension. 4 games in, Odell did the ESPN interview. And don't talk to me, well, besides that ESPN interview made everything worse about Odell. It made everything, like I defended stuff before in Odell. That ESPN interview was like, oh my gosh, this guy. And you know why he did that? He signed the contract and he thought he was untouchable. He thought he was untouchable. He thought there was no way the Giants would ever move on from him. That's what he thought. He thought he was untouchable. He said it himself in the interview today. He's like, I thought I was going to be there my whole life. He thought he was untouchable. He wasn't. And then the following Thursday, he walks off the field, before halftime against the Eagles, if you remember that. And Pat Shurmur has to lie. So if Pat Shurmur after that was telling players to stay away from him, good for Pat Shurmur. Good on Pat Shurmur, because honestly, he was a bad influence on this team. And he sabotaged Pat Shurmur. Odell, you're the guy who sabotaged the team. You sabotaged Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur not a good coach, but you're the one who sabotaged him 4 games into his career of the Giants. He never had a shot. You're the one who trashed Eli. We've heard that Eli doesn't even like Odell. I mean, I guess I can say it because license plate guy said it on a stream with me.
He said it publicly. Yeah.
He said it publicly that he sent some stuff to Eli to be signed. He sent everything back signed besides Odell's stuff. Everything but. So to pretend like he didn't trash Eli, he trashed Eli on national TV without telling the team. That interview is nuts. That is the sign of a madman. That's the sign of like, oh, this guy's turning into Terrell Owens. This guy's turning into Antonio Brown. Those guys weren't horrible off rip. it actually, they started getting progressively worse at the same time that Odell did.
And here's my only thing, Bobby. I don't really have, I'm not feeling as emotional as you are about this. And good, I'm glad you got it off your chest. This is just the most Odell thing timing wise to say this. He's not saying it in the offseason. He's saying it with now there's questions of, are the Browns better without Odell Beckham Jr.? Is Baker Mayfield better without Odell Beckham Jr. on the field? They're 8-3. They are sitting pretty with the nice little playoff spot. I mean, if the Steelers have a little bit of a drop off, there's a chance that the Browns can sweep in and possibly win the division. Very unlikely, but there's a chance that the Browns could win the division when the Steelers started 11-0, which is a crazy thought. And the Giants going on a 4-game winning streak themselves. The first time that they've gone on a 4-game winning streak, and I'm stealing a line from Snacks. He likes to say this. First time they've gone on a 4-game winning streak since Vietnam. So what does Odell Beckham Jr. have to do? He has to go on an interview, and he has to make things about himself. This is just the most Odell thing. And it's funny.
And you asked the line because I got this all day. Well, he's just being honest. Bull crap. Why does Odell get the be honest card? What if everybody was honest about Odell? Huh? What if after that ESPN interview, Pat Shurmur, the whole team said that was nuts. We could not believe that. We were jaw dropped. This is what something a very selfish person does. What if they were just being honest? Would you have pulled that card? Oh, they're just being honest. They're just being honest. Or you just said you don't trash your guy in the public. You don't. You don't do that. What about when a picture comes out and he's laid up with a plate full of Coke next to him? What if his teammates came out and like, yeah, he's kind of a drug addict. He parties a lot. He's a drug addict. What if they came out and were honest about that? Would have that been cool? Just being honest? What about after the playoff game where it's like, yeah, he kind of lost us this game. He had all these drops. He screwed us. They got all that attention on the boat trip. And then he's the one punching the wall after the game. Maybe worry about catching the ball instead of punching the wall. You're the one you were a big part of us losing this game. What if Eli did that? What if Eli said you weren't the same player that got us here? You got us here. You didn't show up. You sucked. You sucked in the biggest game. What if they were honest about that? What if Eli was honest about that? What if Ben McAdoo was honest with that? Would have that been cool? What about when he walks off the field halftime early, 3 days after he trashes the team to the nation with Lil Wayne next to him? What if he did that? What if Pat Shurmur said, "Oh no, he didn't need an IV. He's just an asshole. He's an asshole. He's a selfish asshole who's mad and he wants to throw a fit because he didn't need an IV. Oh, I don't like water. Shut up." Pat Shurmur he lied for you. Eli lied for you. Your teammates, your friends lied for you over and over again. So miss me with he's just being honest. And honestly, he's not being honest. He's lying. Pat Shurmur tried to sabotage me. Get the hell out of here, dude. You sabotage yourself. You're the reason you're gone. You're the reason you're in Cleveland, and you're the reason people are annoyed at you in Cleveland already. You are the issue. He is the main issue in his problems. Okay, and that's the biggest issue is he thinks everything else is his fault. I get the media can be a little over the top on him sometimes, but he brings it upon himself over and over and over again. And it's the old adage: if everyone around you is an asshole, you're the asshole. And that's who Odell is. And it reminded me, I was feeling bad for Odell, and I still do. Like I want the guy to figure it out. It's sad what's happened to his career, but this woe is me. Everybody around me sucks but me. He set records with Eli Manning. He was on the greatest wide receiver.
Yep.
He was on pace to be the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Yep.
And he was still trashing Eli today. He was still doing it. So this idea that, like, oh, he was just right about, the team. He's playing the heartstrings. He knows we love Eli. He's playing the heartstrings. Get out of here.